From the moment you took your first breath, your body has been listening. Long before thought learned to form language, something inside you was already translating the world. Not through words, but through vibration. Every cell, every strand of DNA, every flicker of biolight within you has been participating in a silent conversation with the universe. You may think you are the one observing creation, but what if creation has been observing itself through you? Most people believe they perceive reality through the five senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. But these are only surface instruments, limited receivers of a much larger broadcast. Beneath perception, there is another layer, an ancient intelligence woven into the fabric of your biology. Your body is not merely matter. It is a living field, a conductor of energy designed to translate the invisible into experience. The nervous system is not just wiring, it is resonance. Your DNA is not a static code. It is an antenna made of light. Science once described DNA as a chemical archive, a string of molecules storing evolutionary memory. Yet quantum biology has begun to tell a different story. Researchers like Fritz Albert Popp discovered that DNA emits tiny pulses of light called biophotons, rhythmic flashes that form the body's own language of luminosity. Healthy cells shine in coherent patterns, stressed ones flicker chaotically. Your body literally glows with the story of your emotional state. What mystics called the aura may simply be this subtle field of ordered light radiating from within. When you feel joy, the molecules of your body expand into harmony. When fear arrives, they tighten into defense. These changes aren't symbolic, they are measurable electromagnetic shifts. Emotion alters the spin of particles, the tension of DNA's double helix, the rhythm of your heartbeat, and the coherence of your electromagnetic field. You are not separate from your feelings. You are built from them. Every thought sends a current through your biology. Every belief becomes a tone vibrating through the field. Imagine your body as an instrument, the heart as a drum, and the breath as wind through strings of light. Each emotion becomes a note that your DNA plays back into the quantum field. The universe doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you broadcast. When you speak in gratitude, the frequencies of your cells rise into coherence, and matching patterns from the field respond. When you dwell in fear, that same field reflects turbulence back as experience. This is not magic. It is resonance, the oldest law in existence. Like vibrates with like. You are living inside a feedback loop of consciousness and biology. Your body receives, translates, and transmits information every second, participating in a network that extends far beyond skin or space. Photons born from the heart's magnetic field weave through air, carrying the signal of your internal state. Even your breath is a code. Ions exchanged with the atmosphere, data traded between organism and cosmos. You have never been disconnected. You've only been unaware of the conversation. So pause for a moment and listen. Feel the quiet hum behind your thoughts. That is the sound of your body hearing the universe. The senses translate fragments, but this deeper awareness perceives wholeness. It is the same intelligence that keeps your heart beating and stars burning, a continuity of vibration that never began and will never end. When you start to notice it, reality changes texture. The world feels less like a collection of objects and more like a field of frequencies. It's light folding into sound, sound shaping into matter, and matter breathing with awareness. You realize that your body is not within the field. It is the field made visible. Every cell is a window, every heartbeat a signal, every breath a message in the language of light. And as that realization deepens, a new question rises, one that dissolves the old idea of separation. If your DNA is listening to the universe, and the universe is listening to you, then who exactly is speaking? There comes a point when the signal begins to blur, when the harmony that once flowed effortlessly through your body starts to fracture into static. It doesn't happen suddenly. It creeps in quietly through the stress you normalize, the emotions you suppress, and the words you don't say. One unacknowledged moment at a time, the clear tone of your being becomes buried beneath layers of noise. And soon, the body forgets what coherence feels like. We call it anxiety, fatigue, overthinking, but beneath the labels is something simpler. The frequency has fallen out of tune. The heart's rhythm tightens, the breath shortens, the electromagnetic field around you flickers like a dimming light. What you feel as emotional turbulence is your DNA reacting to distortion, closing its spiral to protect the system. Protection, however, comes with a cost. It reduces flow. It narrows possibility. Your biology is intelligent. It learns from experience. Each time you meet the world with fear, your nervous system takes note. It builds pathways of vigilance. It memorizes contraction as safety. And over time, that memory becomes identity. You start to think of yourself as anxious, guarded, uncertain, when in truth those are not traits. They are frequencies your body learned to repeat. The modern world reinforces this pattern. Constant alerts, invisible waves of information, demands for attention. These all create a background hum that fragments the signal of the human field. We live surrounded by digital light, yet starved of inner illumination. We scroll through endless noise, not realizing that our own electromagnetic coherence is being rewritten by the frequencies we consume. The body keeps listening, even when the mind insists it's fine. In that static, something sacred is lost, the intimacy between consciousness and form. You forget that every thought is a vibration transmitted into the field. You forget that emotion was never meant to be suppressed, but metabolized into light. And as the inner currents knot themselves in resistance, the outer world begins to echo the dissonance. Circumstances grow erratic, synchronicities fade. The flow that once carried you gently forward now feels fragmented, unpredictable, but the field does not punish, it mirrors. Always with precision, always without judgment. If chaos surrounds you, it is not evidence of failure, but feedback. It's always a reflection of the turbulence you've been broadcasting. This realization can feel confronting, even painful. Yet it is the beginning of mastery. Because the moment you understand that the world is responding to your inner state, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstance. You start to see reality as a conversation, albeit one that has simply grown distorted. The science of resonance explains it elegantly. Two frequencies in proximity will always seek synchronization. A guitar string vibrating beside another will cause the second to hum in sympathy. Your DNA behaves the same way. When fear becomes your dominant tone, your entire system adjusts its pitch to match that vibration. The molecules of your body, the rhythm of your heart, even the spin of subatomic particles will follow the command. The field around you then aligns with that frequency and sends back experiences that confirm it. Not as punishment, but as coherence. The field must remain consistent with its input. Inside the body, the same law applies. Chronic stress floods the bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline, shifting cellular communication from creation to defense. Energy once used for repair now fuels survival. The immune system weakens, digestion slows, and brainwave patterns lose harmony. Every aspect of the body begins to reflect the inner broadcast of danger. You are literally shaping biology with emotion. Yet even in this state of fragmentation, the intelligence within you never stops listening. The DNA waits patiently for a new signal, for the moment you remember that you can retune. Because noise is not permanent, it is simply energy without alignment. It only takes a single moment of awareness to begin clearing the distortion. Awareness functions like light entering a dark room. It doesn't fight the darkness, it reveals structure. The moment you notice your own contraction, the tightness in the chest, the racing thought, or the subtle holding of breath, you have already begun to shift the frequency. Observation is correction. The act of noticing restores rhythm, because to observe is to create a gap between you and the pattern, and in that gap, coherence can return. The heart is the most powerful tuner of them all. Its electromagnetic field is thousands of times stronger than that of the brain. When the heart's rhythm is erratic, the entire system vibrates in disarray. But when the heart beats in smooth, ordered waves, like during moments of compassion, gratitude, or peace, every other system begins to align. The nervous system synchronizes, the brain enters alpha coherence, and the DNA loosens its spiral, receiving light more freely. What mystics called opening the heart is not just poetry. It is bioelectric precision. So many people chase awakening through the mind, through concepts, teachings, or theories. But the doorway to coherence does not open through intellect. It opens through feeling, because feeling is frequency in motion. The body must participate in the process. You cannot think your way into alignment. You can only feel your way home. When you start to live with this awareness, the external world still mirrors you, but differently. The same laws of resonance apply. Yet now the reflections become teachers. The colleague who irritates you, the delay that tests your patience, the silence that triggers fear of being unseen. These are not random events. They are the field's way of revealing the frequencies you still carry. The mirror has become your mentor. This is where many people turn away, mistaking the reflection for rejection. But if you can stay present, if you can feel the discomfort without labeling it as failure, then something miraculous happens. The distortion begins to resolve, the emotion completes its movement, and the field responds instantly with clarity. This is the alchemy of awareness, chaos reorganizing into coherence. You might notice subtle shifts first, synchronicities returning, the right words arriving at the right time, your body feeling lighter after years of tension. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that the signal is clearing. The field responds the moment your tone changes. Still, the human mind resists simplicity. It wants complex solutions, but coherence is not earned through effort. It is remembered through stillness. The body already knows how to realign. Every breath is a tuner. Every heartbeat a metronome reminding you of rhythm. When you exhale slowly, you send a message through the vagus nerve. It's safe to relax. The nervous system responds, the electromagnetic field stabilizes, and light begins to flow unobstructed through the cells again. This is what healing truly is, the body remembering its music, the DNA opening like a flower returning to sunlight, the molecules releasing their grip on fear. You begin to sense that coherence isn't something to strive for. It's your natural state once the noise subsides. The friction you feel now, the restlessness, the emotional waves, the existential fatigue, these are not signs of failure. They are the sound of the old frequency dissolving. When metal is tuned, it must vibrate before it settles. When the human field recalibrates, it trembles before it harmonizes. The noise of separation is simply the birth cry of a new alignment. So when you find yourself lost in static, overwhelmed by the world, pause, feel your feet on the ground and the breath moving through your ribs. These are not trivial sensations. They are the body's way of guiding you back into signal. Beneath the interference, the original frequency still hums, ever patient. You do not have to chase silence. You only have to stop amplifying the noise. Because the same body that once learned to contract can also learn to expand. The same field that mirrored chaos can mirror peace. The moment you remember that you are both transmitter and receiver, the static begins to clear. There then comes a moment when awareness turns inward and realizes the world has been answering you all along. Every encounter, each is an echo of your own frequency, returning home. You look around and see not a random universe, but a mirror made of energy. The people who challenge you, the opportunities that arise and dissolve, the repeating patterns you call fate. These are all feedback, reflections of the tone you've been transmitting. The field does not speak in language, it speaks in resonance. And resonance never lies. At first, this realization feels humbling. It strips away the comforting illusion that life happens to you. You start to see that nothing appears without purpose, that every vibration you send is registered, recorded, and returned with mathematical precision. The universe is not judging, it is calibrating. It reflects your dominant state, not your temporary wish. You might affirm abundance 100 times, but if your nervous system hums with fear of lack, the field hears fear. It mirrors the frequency, not the words. Each emotion alters the body's electromagnetic pattern, and the field simply matches it. When the signal is chaotic, life becomes unpredictable. When the signal steadies, reality stabilizes. Inside your cells, the same principle operates. The double helix of DNA responds like a tuning fork, expanding and contracting with emotional rhythm. Scientists have observed that DNA exposed to coherent states, love, appreciation, compassion, unwinds slightly, allowing photons to flow freely. Under stress or anger, it tightens, restricting that light. You can feel this difference even without a microscope. The body that lives in love breathes differently. The body that lives in fear is always holding its breath. As this understanding settles in, the mirror ceases to feel hostile. You begin to see how kind it actually is. The field never hides your reflection. It shows it relentlessly until you recognize yourself. That recurring conflict, that familiar disappointment, that same lesson dressed in new faces. It is all precision feedback, helping you tune your vibration to a higher coherence. Still, the ego resists. It wants control over reflections. It insists that if you can fix the external image, change the job, the relationship, or the circumstance, the discomfort will fade. But mirrors do not change because you polish the glass. They change when you alter the source of light. The only leverage you truly have is internal frequency. The rest is reflection. Imagine standing before a lake at dawn. The water is still, the reflection clear. Then you toss in a stone. Ripples distort the image. You cannot smooth the water by shouting at the reflection. You can only wait for the movement to settle. The same is true of consciousness. Every emotional reaction is a stone in the lake of your field. The ripples are temporary, but they alter what you perceive until you allow stillness to return. This is the moment of collapse, the moment of surrender, the collapse of the illusion that you are separate from what you experience, the collapse of projection, of blame, of the endless search for external validation. When that scaffolding falls, what remains is pure reciprocity. You and the field breathing in synchrony. It can feel disorienting at first, almost empty. But within that emptiness lies clarity, a still mirror reflecting truth without distortion. The physics of resonance describes this elegantly. When two oscillating systems interact, energy transfers until they synchronize. The same dance occurs between your internal frequency and the environment around you. You emit, the field responds. and together you create a harmonic pattern. It is sometimes discordant and sometimes sublime. Once you understand this, life stops being a mystery of chance and becomes a laboratory of consciousness. Every situation is data. Every emotion is feedback. Every day is an experiment in coherence. You start to test this in small ways. A single breath taken with awareness calms a tense conversation. A silent act of kindness alters the energy of a room. A thought of gratitude before sleep changes the dreams that follow. These subtle experiments reveal that the field responds faster than logic expects. It listens to vibration instantly, rearranging probabilities around the clarity of your signal. But awareness brings responsibility. The mirror does not pause when you forget. It keeps reflecting, so the practice becomes vigilance through curiosity. You begin to ask in each moment, what frequency am I broadcasting now? That question is not self-criticism. It is self-attunement. It turns life into the art of refining tone. As you refine it, the mirror brightens. Experiences that once triggered you now appear softer, almost transparent. You sense the hidden geometry behind events and the symmetry within coincidence. Even pain reveals order when seen from coherence. You realize that suffering was never personal. It was just resistance to resonance. Once you allow energy to move freely, the field no longer needs to echo the lesson. The pattern dissolves on its own. The body responds too. Muscles release tension they've held for years. The breath deepens without effort. The heartbeat steadies into a rhythm that feels ancient and familiar. You are not healing through force. You are returning to natural frequency. DNA begins to emit smoother light. The heart and brain synchronize into what scientists call heart-brain coherence, generating electromagnetic harmony, measurable meters beyond the skin. You are literally broadcasting peace. And yet, coherence is not a permanent state. It is a living rhythm. There will be days when noise returns, when the mirror clouds again. But now you know what to do. You stop fighting the reflection. You breathe. You feel. You let awareness settle until the water clears. This is mastery not in controlling the field, but in trusting the feedback. The mirror becomes your teacher, your companion, your proof. It shows you exactly where your energy stands. You no longer fear its honesty. You welcome it, because you understand that reflection is revelation. Soon, the distinction between self and reflection begins to blur. You realize the mirror has no edges. It extends in all directions, folding galaxies and atoms into one continuum of awareness. You are both observer and reflection, question and answer, signal and field. When you reach that insight, the heart often falls silent, not from emptiness, but from awe. You see how every moment, even those you once called painful, was part of the same luminous choreography guiding you toward coherence. The mirror was never against you. It was you, teaching yourself how to see. That is the threshold of integration, the moment when the mirror no longer reflects back an image, but shines with its own light. You have entered resonance with creation. The next movement begins here, learning to live as the antenna itself, not trying to command the field, but becoming the purity of its signal. The moment you recognize that life is a mirror, the question shifts from, why is this happening to me, to, what frequency am I transmitting? That question is the doorway. Because once you know that the reflection changes only when the signal changes, the work becomes beautifully simple. Tune the antenna. Your body is that antenna, a living instrument built from geometry and light. The heart is its transmitter, the brain its translator, and the DNA its crystalline wire. Every emotion adjusts its calibration, expanding or tightening the spiral of reception. You were never meant to manipulate reality through effort. You were designed to modulate it through resonance. The clearer the tone, the clearer the world that answers. Retuning begins not with thought, but with breath. Breath is the manual dial of consciousness. Each slow inhale pulls the field into focus. Each exhale releases interference. When breath becomes rhythmic, electricity in the vagus nerve evens out, sending a message of safety to every cell. The nervous system softens, the heartbeat steadies, the magnetic field around the body grows smooth again. This is physics measured in rhythm and voltage. Coherence is biological poetry, written in electromagnetism. Feel what happens when you breathe this way now. The mind begins to lose its edges. The chest expands, the shoulders drop. Awareness slides downward into the belly. The antenna is tuning. You can sense faint threads of vibration connecting you to everything. The hum of the room, the pulse of the earth, the subtle weight of starlight pressing through the atmosphere. This is not mysticism. It is communion through resonance. You are remembering how to listen. As the signal clears, emotion rises to the surface. Old emotions you once avoided, anger, grief, fear, appear like static bubbles in clear water. Do not fight them. They are the noise leaving your field. Every emotion carries data your DNA has been holding. When felt fully, the data releases, the charge discharges, and coherence returns. This is the true meaning of emotional alchemy. Energy completing its circuit instead of looping endlessly through suppression. The mind will try to claim this process, to turn it into a technique. But tuning is not mechanical, it is relational. The universe is alive, and your DNA is in conversation with it. Every breath, every thought, every act of honesty is a note in that dialogue. You are not instructing the field, you are aligning with it. When the antenna is clear, the field does the rest. Effort dissolves, because resonance replaces control. Still, coherence requires practice. The body must be reminded daily of what peace feels like. Small, consistent moments recalibrate more deeply than rare epiphanies. 1 minute of stillness, one conscious breath before speaking, one genuine act of kindness. These are frequency adjustments, micro-tunings of the antenna. Over time, they accumulate into stability. The baseline of your vibration rises. What once felt like transcendence becomes normalcy. This is why ancient traditions place such importance on ritual breathing, chanting, and silence. These were tuning practices. Sound, breath, and attention alter the structure of the electromagnetic field surrounding the heart. Modern instruments can now record this harmony. What mystics called prayer, science calls coherence. Both describe the same architecture of order, emerging from chaos. As coherence strengthens, perception changes texture. You begin to feel truth rather than think it. Intuition is no longer a whisper you second-guess. It becomes a physical sensation, a resonance in the chest, a vibration along the skin, an unmistakable expansion in the solar plexus. The antenna is receiving with clarity. Guidance flows not as words, but as frequency, and the body interprets it through sensation. This is the language of the field translated through flesh. In these moments, creation becomes effortless. You think of someone, and they call. You hold a clear intention, and circumstances rearrange. Not because you forced it, but because your signal matched the outcome's vibration. The field had no choice but to synchronize. The universe is not selective. It is responsive. It mirrors coherence wherever it finds it. Yet retuning is not always gentle. When light increases, it reveals interference. You may feel waves of fatigue, bursts of emotion, or memories resurfacing for resolution. These are recalibrations. The body is releasing stored frequencies that no longer resonate with the new baseline. Support the process with rest, hydration, and compassion. The antenna is upgrading its circuitry to handle higher current. Light demands space. Eventually, the friction eases. The system stabilizes into a new clarity, like a hum beneath the heartbeat. In this state, even mundane life glows. Walking feels like communion. Conversation becomes exchange of frequency, more than just words. You begin to notice the electromagnetic symmetry between you and everything else. How your calm steadies others, or how your laughter reorganizes the mood of a room. Coherence is contagious. From the cosmic perspective, this tuning is evolution itself. Every moment a human stabilizes coherence, the collective field brightens. Photons emitted by your heart's magnetic rhythm travel outward, interacting with countless others. Information is shared through light. You are contributing to planetary resonance simply by maintaining your tone. Awakening is not isolation, it is synchronization on a global scale. There will still be fluctuations, days when the signal drifts, moments when fear retightens the spiral. But now you know how to return. The path home is always the same. Breath, awareness, coherence. 3 steps that collapse distance between you and the field. Inhale, light. Exhale, distortion. Feel the antenna open again. As you practice, you'll notice that even silence hums with intelligence. The more you quiet, the more the universe speaks through subtle sensation. You no longer need external confirmation because feedback has become internal. The body itself delivers the message instantly. You are communicating in real time with creation. This is the art of retuning, the remarriage of consciousness and form. The body is no longer an obstacle to spirit, but its amplifier. DNA, once thought to be a code of ancestry, becomes a living bridge between dimensions of information. When its geometry is aligned, it transmits the signature of love with astonishing fidelity. That signal is what the universe calls order, what mystics call light. What you feel is peace. In that peace, doing and being merge. You act without effort, speak without distortion, create without doubt. The antenna hums steadily in the current of existence, translating consciousness into form and form back into consciousness. The feedback loop is complete. And somewhere inside that flow, you realize that tuning was never about changing who you are. It was about removing the interference that kept you from hearing the original song. The melody was always there, woven through the double helix of light within you. Now, at last, it plays clearly. When the antenna grows still, something ancient stirs beneath the silence. It is not a thought, nor a feeling. It is recognition, the memory of light remembering itself through matter. You begin to sense that the glow you once sought from the stars has been burning quietly inside you since the beginning. Every pulse of your heart, every flicker of breath, every photon your DNA emits is a remnant of that original radiance. The light body is not something to achieve, it is what has been breathing you all along. In the first moments of this remembrance, your perception widens. You start noticing the subtle shimmer around living things, like a gentle aura that is less seen than felt. Plants hum with green electricity. The air seems to vibrate with invisible threads. Even your own hands appear luminous in candlelight, as if the boundary between skin and space has softened. The intellect searches for explanation. Biophotons, electromagnetic fields, quantum coherence. And though those words are true, they do not touch the intimacy of the experience. This is the body discovering its light again. Every cell in you is a prism. Within the spiral of DNA, photons flow in rhythmic waves, carrying information from the quantum field into form. When the signal of your consciousness is coherent, these photons move in harmony, weaving order through tissue and thought. When fear returns, the pattern scatters, but never disappears. The light does not die, it only bends, waiting for alignment. This is why healing always feels like remembering. You are not creating light. You are allowing it to move the way it was designed to. As coherence deepens, dormant codes awaken. These are not mystical powers. They are sensitivities long forgotten, intuitive knowing, empathic resonance, spontaneous creativity, cellular repair beyond expectation. The body begins to operate with higher efficiency, not because something new was added, but because obstruction has been removed. The nervous system no longer hoards energy in defense. It conducts it in flow. Brain and heart synchronize. Hormones reorchestrate. Vision sharpens. You are becoming transparent to your own frequency. In this transparency, communication with the field becomes effortless. Intuition no longer arrives as faint whisper, but as full-bodied certainty. You think, and the thought materializes as experience. The field organizes instantly around clarity. This is what ancient texts called manifestation, and modern physics calls resonance collapse. When inner and outer frequencies match, probability resolves into reality. Emotion remains the bridge. Love, gratitude, and reverence are not virtues. They are tuning currents that hold the light body in order. Each time you choose them, DNA unwinds slightly, permitting more photons to circulate. The electromagnetic field expands, forming an atmosphere of harmony around you. Others feel it before they understand it. A quiet peace, a soft gravity that steadies rooms. This is the language of light made human. As the light body stabilizes, your perception of time begins to shift. Past and future feel less linear, more like ripples extending from a single luminous now. Memories surface not as pain, but as frequencies seeking integration. The body digests them, releases the charge, and folds the lesson into light. You sense that every event, every emotion you've lived was never random. Each was a wavelength, calibrating you for this coherence. Nothing was wasted, all was transformation. There will be moments when the brightness feels too strong, flashes of bliss that dissolve thought, waves of energy that leave you trembling. The nervous system is expanding its capacity to hold current. Breathe slowly, drink water, rest. Light demands grounding as much as openness. Even stars anchor their brilliance through gravity. The same law holds true for you. Gradually, the intensity smooths into steadiness. You find yourself moving through the world with a kind of lucid ease. Problems resolve before they form. Conversations find grace. Coincidences multiply into choreography. You no longer wonder whether the universe hears you. You realize you and the universe are the same frequency, speaking to itself. The distinction between sender and receiver fades. Every breath becomes participation in cosmic order. From the scientific view, you have become a coherent oscillator, a source of ordered photons whose field can entrain others. From the mystical view, you are radiance embodied. From the experiential view, you simply feel alive in a way that requires no explanation. Joy no longer spikes and crashes. It hums. This is the remembered state, not constant ecstasy, but sustained harmony. You wake each day inside the same clarity that once arrived only in meditation. You notice that love is less an emotion than a frequency that holds form together. Love is the architecture of coherence. To live in love is to live in resonance with the blueprint of existence. The implications are vast. When you hold this frequency, your biology becomes instruction for the collective field. Every coherent heartbeat broadcasts data that others can unconsciously tune to. Your peace becomes a signal of safety in the human network. This is how evolution unfolds, not through domination, but through resonance. One stable light, reorganizes thousands of flickering ones. Yet humility accompanies this awareness. The more luminous you become, the less you need to declare it. Light does not announce itself. You start to understand that awakening was never about escape from the human story, but deeper embodiment within it. The body, with its limits, its hungers, its fragility, is not the obstacle. It is the vessel of transfiguration. Through it, the infinite learns intimacy. Through it, the cosmos tastes itself as breath, heartbeat, and touch. So you stay grounded. You eat, you laugh, you feel. You keep your feet on Earth, even as your consciousness drifts among galaxies. Because the light body is not a ghost. It is light in matter, heaven braided into carbon. The more you honor the physical, the brighter the non-physical becomes. Spirit and biology were never separate frequencies, only different octaves of the same song. And one day, perhaps while standing in ordinary sunlight, you sense it fully. The boundary dissolves. Light inside and light outside merge. The air glows with the same warmth as your chest. The world exhales through you, and you through it. There is no observer left, only illumination seeing itself. That is the remembrance, not becoming light, but realizing you always were. The atoms in your bones were born in stars. The photons that define your aura are recycled starlight, still singing its origin. To remember this is to awaken, not to ascend, but to shine exactly where you stand. In the quiet after that realization, gratitude arises without thought. You bow inwardly to the intelligence that orchestrates everything. It has always been guiding you back to this simplicity. Coherence as your natural state. Light as your native language. Love as the physics of your existence. The journey is far from over, yet something fundamental has shifted. You no longer chase illumination. You live as its reflection. The light body is remembered, and in that remembrance, life itself begins to glow. At the edge of awakening, the mirror grows transparent. The reflections that once defined you, success and failure, light and shadow, fade into the same soft radiance. There is no image left to fix, no distortion to correct. What remains is clarity without boundary, awareness recognizing itself. You begin to sense that everything you called you has always been the field experiencing its own motion. Every thought, every heartbeat, every photon emitted from your cells was the universe tracing its own rhythm through a temporary form. The seeker and the sought collapse into a single vibration. The question is gone, because the answer was never separate. In this stillness, perception shifts from observation to participation. You no longer look at reality. You look as reality. The breath you take is the planet breathing. The pulse in your wrist is the same current moving tides. Time loosens its linear grip, unfolding instead as an eternal present where cause and effect blend into pure flow. The body, once felt as container, becomes a doorway, light passing freely through matter. The nervous system, now transparent, vibrates like a harp strung between dimensions. Every sensation hums with quiet holiness. Even silence speaks, a language of resonance beyond sound. You realize that divinity was never distant. It was encoded in every atom of your being. Emotion, once teacher and trial, now returns as music. Nothing is rejected because nothing stands outside the field. You see that healing was never repair but reunion, the fragments remembering they were never apart. The mirror dissolves, and what it reveals is astonishingly simple. Love as the underlying geometry of existence. From this space, life continues, but lighter. You move through the world the way light moves through crystal, coloring everything it touches without effort. Choices arise naturally. Synchronicities feel inevitable. Even endings shimmer with quiet beauty, because you understand that every dissolution is merely transformation of frequency. This is not transcendence that escapes the world. It is intimacy that includes everything. You eat, speak, rest, and create. But each act feels sacred because each is made of the same luminosity that spins galaxies. To live from this awareness is to serve creation by being fully alive within it. And when night comes, when you stand beneath the stars, you recognize them not as distant fires, but as reflections of the same light, spiraling within your chest. The journey that began as a search ends as a remembrance. The universe has been looking at itself through your eyes. You are the witness and the radiance, the wave and the ocean, the question and its echo. The mirror is gone. Only the light remains, breathing, knowing and infinite.